Danagathon for pro boxing fans. Delighted to be joined via Zoom by three-weight world champion Duke McKenzie. Duke, hope you've had a good weekend. A weekend that has been encapsulated and engulfed by Chris Eubank Jr, Conor Benn. Months really that have been nothing but Eubank Benn, but we finally saw the fight last night. Straight into it. What was your take?
As an event, you can't fault it. It had celebrities there. It had a full house. Those two are a promoter's dream. They don't have to be the best in the country or even the best in the world. When you've got a product like those two and a brand like those two, you can sell it to just about anyone, and you're going to get the same result in terms of a full house and a pleased audience. So, like I say, as an event, which is exactly what it was, it ticks every box. Do you see what I mean? You know, that they brought everything to the fight, both of them. And like I say, you got to pat them on the back, really, because I don't even know if there's world title fights that will bring out that much media celebrity in it. You know, there were so many famous people there. You know, I was watching as a fan last night from my TV, and I saw so many different faces in the crowd. And I had a link to one or two of the boys at the studio, you understand, on the TalkSport. And they said, this one's there, that one's there, blah, blah. And like I say, it was quite exciting, and it was encapsulating for that reason.
Yeah, in terms of the fight itself, Duke, did anything surprise you about the fight? Because it was a very competitive fight. It was, I think, a more entertaining fight than a lot of people were anticipating. There was, I feel like a majority of people picking Eubank to win in one-sided fashion, and even those who favoured Conor Benn sort of thought it'd be one-sided, but it wasn't really either. You know, neither really took control of the fight. Obviously, Eubank got the win on the night. Did anything surprise you about what happened in the ring?
Nah, it was what it was. Nigel. Conor Benn was always going to be chasing the fight because I couldn't believe the size difference. Bearing in mind, Eubank had boiled down, and you'd seen it all over social media. He showed how much he had actually boiled down to make that weight. But he looked two weight sizes bigger than Conor Benn. So Conor Benn was never going to beat him. The fight wasn't close for me. I made Eubank win by at least 3 rounds, maybe 4. And, they're not crying about it, neither of them, mind you, because, I think Eubank was on 10 million guaranteed. Conor Benn's on 7 million guaranteed. That's ridiculous money. And I'm not going to say it was a ridiculous fight. It wasn't a ridiculous fight. It was an entertaining fight because Benn kept chasing. And there were times in the fight where Benn was throwing shots. He didn't even know where he was. He was throwing punches from Timbuktu and Taiwan, swinging over haymakers, hoping to catch Eubank. But, Eubank slipped and dipped and ducked and dived a little bit and just did what he needed to do. I suppose all that fight really showed us last night that a good big un beats a good little un. They're good. They're not great. So Eubank wins the fight. Where he goes from here in terms of world level, I don't know, because I don't want to pour cold water on the fight because, like I say, as an event, it was great. But he struggled with a welterweight. Let's get that right. He struggled with a welterweight. He ain't struggled against the big, meaty, beefy middleweight as he is. His punches won't have an effect on a genuine middleweight if that's the best that he's got. So, but he's always going to get opportunities. The pair of them will get opportunities because they're branded. They can sell tickets and sell a fight like pretty much nobody else can. I mean, Eubank was I think he was great from start to finish in terms of promoting, selling, knowing how to run a show. He's shown that he can do it before, and I think this particular fight, he's gone to like the A-list sort of like celebrity sort of status. Do you see what I mean? He's been fantastic throughout. So, like I say, as an event, it was flawless.
Yeah, you talk about the event. It feels like the standout moment for the whole night. I mean, as entertaining as the fight was the surprise arrival of Chris Eubank Sr. It was almost cinematic. Now, a lot of people have got sort of conspiracy theories about was this planned the whole time? What's your take on it? Do you think Senior was always going to be there? And how crazy a moment was that?
Well, I mean, like I say, he is Mr. Celebrity, and I never expected to see him at that fight. Not as long as he had a hole in his backside. I never thought he would turn up because he stated so often, I want no part of it. I don't want to be around, what's going on. It's a circus. It was this, it was that. I don't think it was staged. I just think the bottom line was when push come to shove, Dad had to be there. And, as much as he said he wasn't going to be, he said that, didn't he? In an interview, he said the subconscious mind says one thing and the body says another thing, and his mind was always saying to him, "You need to be there." And I'm glad for those two that he was there. There's obviously a lot of bad feeling, and there's a lot, but they got to get water under the bridge. They should kiss and make up because ultimately they're family and they need one another. I just feel that the whole thing's been a sham. The fact that their private lives has been washed out in public. That's the sad part for me. Whatever happens, behind closed doors between father and son or whoever, so long as it's not abuse of any kind. I mean, then it stays there. Do you see what I mean? So it should never have come out in the first place. But listen, the old man done right, not by his son. The old man done right by himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just back to the two men who were actually in the ring, Duke. What do you want to see next? Turki Al Sheikh has already come out and said the date for the rematch is set in place. Obviously, Conor Benn's side have got a rematch clause there if they want it. But Eddie Hearn, even though that fight you would imagine is the most financially lucrative, he expressed sort of hesitancy. He said, would maybe like to see Conor go back to 147, even making 160. Chris didn't even make 160, and then another weight cut, another rehydration clause. There's going to be concerns there. Was taken to hospital after the fight. Does a rematch, is that top of Duke McKenzie's menu for both men? And if not, what would you like to see?
Well, the rematch isn't really warranted. I mean, the rematch is warranted for one reason and one reason alone. They're going to get another 63,000 people into another arena, into another stadium. They're stadium fighters. They're going to get another 60,000 into another stadium. It'll be another entertaining night of action. It brings boxing to the fore of everybody's imagination. I had so many people going from my gym to watch that fight last night. I was shocked. So it really captured the public's imagination. It puts bums on seats and puts boxing really in the spotlight. Would I like to see a return fight? Not really. Didn't think it was great. The outcome would be the same, I dare say. I feel a little bit concerned for Eubank Jr. because the way he made weight and made it so publicly, the sweatsuits, the saunas, the laying down with the blankets and the sweat blankets, and the way he drained himself. As I said, he's got away with it last night against the welterweight. Now, if he fights a big, strong middleweight, then that boy's in a world of trouble because, that's when those punches don't have any effect. That's when all the leaning, the pushing, and all of the tiring out and all the interactions they may have take an effect. And you don't want to see nothing happen bad to that boy, or any boxer. You don't want to see him getting hurt and seriously injured in boxing through any circumstances. So, yeah, Conor Benn should, fight at welterweight. Probably couldn't make welterweight if he tried. I don't think he can make welterweight anymore. Maybe like middleweight for Conor Benn. But Eubank, the world's his oyster, isn't it? He can call out whoever he wants because he's going to get a fight against whoever he wants.
Yeah, for sure. I think obviously it's the decision of both men and their teams to make, but obviously caution needed when the health side of things come into it. Just one thing that slipped my mind earlier, Duke. What did you make of the whole debacle with Billy Joe Saunders being refused entry into the dressing room by Eubank's manager?
Again, it's all part of the show, isn't it? It's all part of the entertainment. He's done it full well, knowing that it's going to cause controversy and get his face back on camera because he's been out the limelight for so long. So, it's all part, it all adds to the mix. Like I say, you had the Billy Joe saga, you had the Eubank saga, you had the Dad saga. It really was like a soap program. You had part 1, part 2, part 3. Eubank gets the fight gets made, hooray! Everyone's excited. Then the fight's off. Oh no! Then the fight's back on again, hooray! Do you know what I mean? It really was. It was such an entertaining build-up. I don't think the fight lived up to expectation, but as an event, it was first class.
Yeah, for sure. Just a quick word on the undercard, Duke, before I let you go. I'm not sure how much of it you managed to catch, but what you did see, who were the sort of standout performers for you?
For me, I think I'm quite pleased that Billam Smith won his fight. I'm pleased he won it. He's on the road back now. There wasn't really any real standouts for me last night. I think I was, like everybody else, just sort of hung out on the main event, waiting to see how it would unfold. but I did say that Eubank would win the fight prior to their meeting on points. Or if there was going to be a stoppage, then it would have been his way. And as I said before, when you look at this fight in the cold light of day, you know, as a boxing spectacle, Eubank's just struggled against the welterweight. Ain't a big middleweight. He's not a world-class middleweight. He's just, you know, he's gone a distance against the welterweight. So it kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, well, Duke, thank you so much for giving me some of your time. It feels weird talking about this fight having happened when all we've discussed for the past 2 years is when's this fight going to happen, what's going to happen. But it has happened, and it was great to recap it with yourself. Hope you have a good Sunday, and looking forward to doing this again soon. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much. I appreciate you. Take care. Have a great Sunday.
You too.